So today we'll be working in my workbook called The Commandments and Laws of God, which cover Exodus 20 through 24. Looking at the table of contents, we have already worked on the first four chapters. We started with the Ten Commandments, and those were spoken to the people by God. Then in chapter 2, they tell Moses that they don't want to hear directly from God anymore. He's too frightening, too scary that they will hear from Moses from God. And then we start getting into the other laws that God gives them, the laws of how to live and these things. So we've gone through how to handle the laws of God concerning Hebrew servants, both male and female, although they're handled totally different. A kind of a protection on the female servants so they weren't abused. Then there's the laws of God concerning personal injury. What's the result if you accidentally hurt someone or accidentally kill them? Now we're getting into the laws of God concerning animal injuries. And this will be Exodus 21, 28 through 36. Now it's going to accept, it's not going to include Exodus 21, 33, 34. That's in the next chapter. So Exodus 21, 28. If a bull gores a man or woman to death, the bull is to be stoned to death, and its meat must not be eaten, but the owner of the bull will not be held responsible. Like the other groups of laws, this group starts first with the general standard, followed by exceptions. Does verse 28 have to do with maiming or actual death of the person? The death. This general rule follows the basic premise that God laid down in Genesis 9:6, which is listed below. Genesis 9:6, whoever sheds human blood, by human shall their blood be shed. So the general rule is if a bull gores a man or woman to death, they get killed and their meat is not eaten. Does verse 28 apply to either man or woman? Yes, indeed it does. Is this law just to be applied to bulls or to any animal, but bull was the most likely? I would say it probably would apply to any animal, but the bull is the most likely. How is the bull to be killed? Stoned to death. Stoning was the general form of capital punishment used in the Old Testament. What happens to the meat of the bull after it's killed? It must not be eaten. Basically, this is so the owner of the bull does not receive profit or benefit from the bull, since it gored someone to death. Also, the meat would not have been killed correctly for eating. Meat had to be properly handled in those days, as well as now, to prevent diseases and be kosher. In verse 28, is the owner of the bull held responsible for the death of the person? No. This is based on the idea that this was a first time occurrence. In this case, it's the nature of the beast and not negligence of the owner. But that's the general rule. We'll get into specifics here soon. Exodus 21:29. If, however, the bull has had a habit of goring and the owner has been warned but has not kept it pinned up and it kills a man or woman, the bull is to be stoned and the owner also is to be put to death. So this is the first exception to the general rule, which is negligence. This verse deals with a bull that had a habit of goring. This would mean that the bull had either gored a person and just injured them or gored objects like fences and other livestock. However, it's now known that this bull gores. I mean, it is known that it gores, that is piercing with its horns. If the owner is the owner aware of the habit of the bull? Yes. Has he been warned about the bull? Yes. How do we know that there is negligence, failure to take proper care in doing something here? Because he has known that it gores, but yet has not pinned it up. What if the bull had a habit of goring, but the owner had not been warned about his bull? Would he still be held accountable if someone else dies to the goring? Maybe not. He was not held accountable. I mean, he would not have known. So is it okay to have a violent bull known for goring if you keep it penned? Well, apparently. Is the punishment of this bull with the habit of goring the same as if it was first time it ever gored someone to death? No. Well, the punishment of the bull is it still gets killed. In this case, how is the owner punished? He is also put to death, also by stoning. This would be the same as using a weapon to kill someone, which is covered by Exodus 21:12. Exodus 21:30. However, if payment is demanded, the owner may redeem his life by the payment of whatever is demanded. This law also applies if the bull gores a son or daughter. If the bull gores a male or female slave, the owner must pay 30 shekels of silver to the master of the slave, and the bull is to be stoned to death. So now this is a second exception. This is apparently because the owner of the bull did not directly but indirectly cause the death. We call this criminally negligent homicide. So basically, instead of being put to death, they can pay restitution. How can an owner of a bull that killed someone by goring and has been warned about his bull but did not pen it escape the death penalty? By payment, if it's demanded for payment. Who is doing the demanding of payment? The person or family who got gored. The actual amount of payment or compensation would be finalized by the judges. Realistically, this serves the family of the deceased better than the death of the owner of the bull. Verse 31. Verse 31 lets us know that the death of a bull, son and daughter had the same value as their parents. In the case of a slave being gored by a bull known for goring, is the bull still killed? Yes, he's still killed. However, there's a slave's price that can be paid for the owner of the bull to escape death. The price is 30 shekels of silver. 30 shekels of silver would be equal to roughly 4 months of wages, or probably more at this time. Exodus 21:35. If anyone's bull injured someone else's bull and it dies, the two parties are to sell the live one and divide both the money and the dead animal equally. However, it was known that the bull had the habit of goring, yet the owner did not keep it penned up. The owner must pay animal for animal and take the dead animal in exchange. Normally, bulls, just like all other animals, fight for dominance. However, bulls can never be trusted not to attack for any reason. In this case, two dominant bulls from different owners have somehow gotten into the same pen together. And just how often does this happen, really? In this case of the two bulls, how many are dead? One is dead. What's going to be done with the live one? They sell it and divide the money and the dead animal equally. What's going to be done with the dead one? It's divided between the two. If the bull that remained alive after a bullfight is in the habit of goring and the owner was warned and did not have it penned up, what happens to the live bull and dead bull? They get exchanged. The dead bull, the person who owned the bull that is dead now gets the live bull, and the person who owned the live bull now gets the dead bull. The likelihood of all these situations happening, that two bulls from different owners are together, have a fight, and that the bull that won had a habit of goring, yet the owner of the goring bull does not keep it penned, and he also has been warned, seems like a remote possibility, but God thought it was important. So now we already come to the end of this chapter. In today's terms, if your dangerous bull kills someone, we call this criminally negligent homicide. Right. Number 5, an owner of a dangerous bull can number 5 can redeem. I thought it was that. Can redeem his life even if the bull is killed. 6, the meat of the bull that has been stoned to death must not be eaten. One down, failure to contain a bull that you know will harm someone is called what in today's legal words? Negligence. 2, if a bull gores a man or woman to death, the bull is stoned to death. And 3, if a bull gores a slave, how many shekels of silver does the owner of the bull have to pay? 30. And that's the end of this very quick chapter. But there you go.